Okay, good morning. Hey Stefan, how you doing? Hey Noah Chuku, how you doing? Good morning. Hey Jumarinas, hey Jimmy, good afternoon. Hope you're doing super and awesome. I guess you guys can see me okay, hear me alright. Let me know. We'll get started in a minute, in a hot minute. Just want to make sure it's all working well. Yes, okay. Alrighty, all good. Thanks for that, Jumarinas. Any trades? Anyone got into any interesting trades from yesterday? Hey Nav, good morning. Alrighty. Yeah, coughing a bit. Okay, if you are new to the session, again, do remember to drop a message and say hi. For all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you again for joining me on this session. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. That little thumbs up on YouTube supposedly does help, and you can do that for me. Okay, now with all that said, I think let's jump straight into it. Not a lot to update again, but let's jump straight into it. A quick disclaimer before: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please remember that your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider appropriateness to your circumstances. With that, take that away. Jimmy's still in the pound, the Aussie, and the Kiwi. I was in the Kiwi, and I got out this morning when I was posting a series of charts on the Discord channel there for you guys. Just as I was posting that, I got out of that quick, small trade. Markets are just a little bit consolidative, more consolidative than I would like. And that's why I haven't been too keen to hold on to trades that much. All right. Hey, Robbie, how are you doing? I was just checking out your Instagram just then. I was just scrolling through Instagram. I saw your post. Hope you're well, Robbie. Long time no see. Now, what has happened since the last time we spoke? Not a whole bunch. It has been the holidays yesterday for the UK with the spring bank holiday, and for the US for Memorial Day. So it was relatively quiet apart from the dollar index doing as we had expected, pushing lower, right? Didn't retrace up to 50. It sat there in consolidation before pushing lower down to that 104.50 support level, right? Came down to that 61.8 level, which coincided with that swing level and that point there as well. So it hit that, let me highlight that, hit that whole area and sat there along the support. This was because of the holidays in the US, which pretty much left it a little bit undefended. So it continued on that previous trajectory to the downside towards the support level. Now the question is what's going to happen. So take those away, that happened already as planned, right? The question now is what's going to happen at this support level here. All right. Hey Christina, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey Diana, good morning. Good to see you again. Hey Angel Case, good morning. I jumped straight into it today, so you haven't missed out that much. Can we look at the CAD yen? Yes, I can do that. No problems. Okay, so that was yesterday where we saw, US was on holiday. We saw the dollar being slightly undefended, pushing to the continue on with the previous move on Friday to the downside towards the support level now, looking like it might bounce, but the question is what's going to happen at this point. For today, early this morning, we had the Aussie retail sales number. It was a minus 0.4%. It was expected to be a 0.3. It got released at a 0.1. Not the worst number, because it is better than previous, but not as high as expected. And because of that, what we saw on the Aussie was that at 9, right at that point, right, we saw it push up. We saw it push up because it is still better than previous, but it didn't shoot all the way up. It came up, hit that 6673 or 75 level, and then it's still sitting just above this resistance turned support level. Okay, somewhat as a little bit more drastic, but somewhat as planned, where it where we were expecting it to shoot up, retrace, and then push back up. Right now, what it's doing in a bit more drastic fashion, it's shot up, it's retraced, now looking to see whether it's going to continue pushing back up that way. Okay, we'll talk about that shortly. And then through the day, well, we had the SNB, the Swiss National Bank Chairman Jordan speaking, didn't do too much. We had the BOJ with their core CPI year on year. You look at that, it went from a 2.2, we dropped CPI, so inflation growth dropped slightly lower down to 1.8%, which saw the, I don't know what's happening to my voice today, but which saw the US yen push slightly to the upside, still not triggering our trade yet, not enough to trigger the trade yet. Through today, a whole bunch of not super important news. I'm not super keen on any of this. And then we have consumer confidence numbers to be released for the US tonight at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8. 97 expected to drop slightly to 96. Consumer confidence does translate into a bit of a retail sales number. So if it does drop from 97 down to 96, I'm thinking that it might even go a bit lower down to 95. I might be anticipating some possible weakness on the dollar index. Okay, and then through that, tomorrow morning, Aussie CPI again. We talked about this yesterday, but it's coming now. Aussie CPI tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. GMT plus 8, 3.5, expected 3.4. I think that unless we see a massive drop in the CPI, it's not likely to change the RBA's path or current sentiment and current path on its rates decision. It's likely to hold. Or they've been talking about holding. They've even thought about possibly they've put it onto the table, the possibility for a rate hike to bring inflation lower. So unless this drops significantly, starting with a 2, I don't think it's going to do too much to the Aussie dollar at this point. Okay, and then for the rest of that, I'll tell you tomorrow. We do have the GDP number to look out for on Thursday for the US, and core PCE price index to be released for the US on Friday. So those will be some bigger news events to look out for. In the meantime, it does look like the bit more consolidative before a pop. Right? What the market has been doing now is been sitting right across, popping lower, sitting right across, popping lower, or sitting right across and popping up. It's not really trending in a scenario. It's sitting and spiking down or spiking up. So with that, one approach is also to consider just getting into position, setting your orders, and then taking quick profits, because you never know when it's going to stop and sit there or retrace quickly as well. Okay. So what I'm looking at here on the dollar index, it is sitting just along this 61.8, this support. I'll still keep it as a support / resistance level, and this area. I don't need that for now, right? And I don't need that either. Take that away. I'll just clean up some lines first. That's the main thing we're looking out for. 61.8 is there. That makes sense. The trend line is pretty much done. I don't need that. Take it away. Now looking at this, let me just check something. All right. Put in some levels. If it stays below this point, what I'm actually thinking, right, what I'm actually thinking without thinking too much, is that it looks like the dollar index is going to sit in this consolidation, right? Again, with possibly weaker than expected or weaker consumer confidence numbers later today, we might see the dollar index sit in consolidation before testing lower again. That's one thought, right? Or it could sit there and then bounce off this level to push back up. Without any major news events, we don't need that. Take that away. Sorry, I'm just getting to a bit of a habit of cleaning up my charts now. Okay, take that away for now. Okay, so this 61.8 has held. Now I'm looking at this overall move, how it came down to 61 and bounced, tested, came back down slightly. Now looking at this, I'm actually more tempted, right? As much as we could see this push down, I think that what a possible trajectory of the dollar index could look like is a consolidation. All right, a consolidation, maybe a longer consolidation, bit of a spike down before that push back up again. All right, so with that, what I'm actually thinking is that, to take those away for now, dollar index could bounce back up if it finds this support. Okay, so today being the 28th of May, we need it to stay, find support at 104.50. We need to find support at 104.50, and then it could bounce higher towards 105 resistance. Okay, take those away, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so change that from my support towards as a resistance level. So I'm looking for it to sit along this point and to push to the upside towards 105. Key trigger, I'll add that in, is that a confirmation, somewhat of a confirmation would be if it breaks above 104.60. Price breaks 104.60, which is also that 23.6 level. Right, so if it stays around this range, draw that again. If it stays around this range, I'm not super keen. What I'm looking for is for it to break out of this level to the upside towards that 105 50 level, it could very well get to just about 104.90 because there's not a lot of news today, so it might get to about 104.90. Let's get a bit more specific with that. To that point, okay, towards resistance 104.90 or resistance level at 105. Okay, but the main thing is that it's consolidating at support of 104.50. Right, we're looking for bounce higher towards 104.90. All right, there we have it. Hey Balami, how you doing? From Sydney. Not my old place, I wasn't from Sydney. I was from WA. But good to see that you're in Australia, in AU. Okay, now with that makes sense. Looking for that to hold, looking for it to consolidate and push to the upside. Needs to break above 104.60 before I would anticipate that resumption of strength. Then onto the Kiwi, right? We saw that didn't go up, retrace and pushed up. It just went pretty much straight up. I closed out on that very earlier today. I think it was only a 12 pip. Yeah, I closed out on a 12 pip move for that to the upside. Right after I sent you all the charts, I looked at it, I thought it was just get off that because I just don't know where it was going to. I didn't think it was going to continue heading higher. So take that away as well. Jimmy is in the Kiwi, right? Jimmy is in the Kiwi, so applying that back up again. If you're in the Kiwi, I do think that you might, it's a little bit tricky at the moment. It's a little bit tricky at the moment because I do think that it could push up, but it looks like it's losing strength. So at the best, I would say that it could get to that 25 pip level or that 6175 level. I don't think we're going to see a big move to the upside as we had previously expected from yesterday. Okay, so maybe a good idea would be to get out of that trade if you are still in it. But yeah, this disclaimer still applies. What I'm looking at here, I would like to see it's pushed up. I would like, because we're anticipating a little bit of a strength here on the dollar, I might sit there for a while and push up. I would like to see that retrace slightly. Right, I would like to see that retrace down slightly. Hey Ahmed, how are you doing? Good morning. Down to about that 6140 level. That will make it a lot better for that upward push if we see that retrace, because it seems to be losing a bit of strength right now. Alright, so if you haven't got into it already, I would be looking for it to sit along that point, maybe retrace back and push back up that way. Right, the reason why I would say get out of it because we don't know how much it could retrace by. Okay, so what I would like to see here on the Kiwi would be 6140, test and bounce. 15 pips, very tight stop loss here, 15 to a 35 to the upside. If it continues higher, you could try for the next resistance level. Okay, so I'll look for that, a test and a bounce. It might even come a little bit lower like that. Okay, so 614, I think we had that, okay. 6140, 15 235. Just checking something. A bit of business confidence number. We have that tomorrow. Okay. We're looking at this. If it breaks below 104.40, then we could see that trade lower. So we're keeping that as an option. Maybe what we could see as the alternate, I mean, I would like to see this black line happen. But what could happen is that we'll see it push, test 23.6, fail to break, and then push back down towards 104.10. Right? If that happens, then that would play out very nicely for the Kiwi in that sense. Okay, but yeah, it could sit there and push back up. But I would like to see that happen. Then onto the Aussie dollar, push, test, rebound again. Take that away for now. You see that it's broke 50. It also broke 61, so we can take that away. This level here, we have it way back there, and that's 50, so that's done. I don't need this point here. But what I would want to consider is the more relevant points there. Okay, so if we see the big resumption of strength on the dollar index, then I'll be looking for this to break and come back to the downside, which would make it about 6645. Stop loss again very tight, no more than 20. I think 20 is very generous here. Take profit down to 50 pips. This will be on dollar strength scenario, back down. All right, so I'll prime that for that dollar strength scenario. I'll be looking to sell at 0.6645, stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the downside. 50. Okay, so again, this would again mean that you either do the Kiwi, right, bouncing off, or a continuation to the upside. I would like to see a bounce. Or the Aussie breaking that support and heading lower. Breaking that support and heading lower on dollar strength. It does seem a little bit contradictory, but we're priming for either scenario to happen. Okay. For the US yen, I would maintain this view. I'll just drag this right across and maintain this view of, because it's been sitting right across, or pretty much right across, it's broken that channel, which is fair enough. I'll just tighten it up, but it's sitting right across. Unless we see massive weakness on the dollar, or you see an intervention, a bit unlikely, from the Bank of Japan, I'm still priming for that upward push on the US yen. So it's consolidating along this point. I think that it would be too early to get in anywhere within this range. So I'll keep it at 157.30. 30 pips stop loss, 65 take profit to the upside. 157.30, 30 pip stop, 65 to the upside. We'll keep it there, expecting the yen to continue pushing up. And like Ahmed just said, the US yen is forming a bullish flag. We have that push up, and then so we have that. Oops, let me do that properly. Right, we have that upward push. Oops. And then we have that and that. So once we look for that break, the earlier entry, yes, you could be looking at 157. I would say the earliest you can get in, the earliest I'll be most comfortable to get in would be at 157.20. You know, ideally it'd be 157.30 for that, up to that resistance level of 158. Yes, you can trade from the bull flag. A little bit more. I don't like to do it just based on a technical pattern. So you can do that, but I like a little bit more confirmation. So that would mean that, you know, break the bull flag, go past that previous high, and then a bit more confirmation, a bit more signal to the upside. Okay, so yes, you can get in there, anywhere in between there. I feel that that point would be a little bit, there's never a safe trade, but a little bit safer with more confirmation. All right, thanks for spotting the bull flag and the question there, Diana. Now, I'll keep that. I said this yesterday. I'm still super keen on the US yen. I love it. I'll be waiting for that. I'll be looking out for that. Updated on that, yes. Still consolidating, yes. Pound, dollar, pushed up. Take that away, did not trigger, did not test and reject. Take that away. So we had both that option there on the pound. If it breaks the previous high, buy it up, or if we form a double top. So it did not form a double top. Because it did not reject the level and push down, so it's broken higher. I would still keep this. If you didn't get into it, I mean, Jimmy's in it, but if you didn't get into it, then I would say that don't rush in now. Again, it's a little bit too late. But if you're in it, thinking we're going to take a little bit of a position that maybe we're going to see that dollar sit there or weaken a little bit, could see this push up. Okay, how much higher can it go? That would be up towards this resistance and then towards this area. Now, okay, if you are in the trade from yesterday, great. I think, you know, worth, maybe you could be moving it to break even. So where was it? Right, you could move this to break even and then try and see whether it's going to get up to that resistance level. But if you haven't got into that trade, I wouldn't get in. I would say that we're looking for a reaction along this resistance level, and I would be looking for a potential rejection to the downside. Okay, so take that away. Don't need that for now. And that as well. Okay, so what I would be looking for here on the pound dollar is a brief dollar weakness and then a resumption of strength back down for the dollar. So rejection of that resistance, looking to sell down 1.2795, stop loss 30 pips, take profit. I don't see it moving 90. I don't see a reason why it would move 90. But you can put your take profit at 90 with a possible hesitation at about 1.2750, which is about a 50 pip level. Okay, so we'll look at that, 1.2795. Pound dollar, we're looking to reject resistance. We're looking for it to reject resistance. Then I'll sell at 1.2795. Stop loss 30. Take profit 90 with a hesitation at 1.27 something, 50. Alrighty. Sit there, consolidate, push up, test, reject, push back down. That's what I'll be waiting for. Yes, that makes sense. Again, checking on the Kiwi, it's looking like it's pushing back up. I hope you, Jimmy, let me know if you closed it already, but it looks like it's pushing back up. I would not enter, if you haven't already, I would not enter unless it breaks past that point. I would even say if it breaks past that high, as a continuation to the upside, you have that 35 to the upside, 15 that way, right? So if it continues to the upside, you'll be looking at that. But I would like to see it test a little bit lower. Relatively interesting because it's a big move on the Kiwi, but yet we're still seeing the dollar sitting in that consolidation. Okay, Aussies, still, I would say that's still a valid view. That, I want to see that break, fine. Pound, dollar, sitting right there. Look, this is so interesting. Kiwi, for no reason, pushing to the upside, and yet pound dollar is still pushing back down. So I'm seeing it sit there, slowly climbing up, testing, rejecting. In fact, I might even say that 1.2790 would be reasonable, and then your stop loss can be about 30 pips or even 25. I like that a bit better. I like that a lot better. Test, reject, turn back down. 1.2790, 25 to 86. 1.2790, 25 to 90. We keep that as a round number level. Yes, Aussie has the CPI tomorrow. Again, I don't think it's going to change too much at 3.5 to 3.4. It might bring a little bit of strength on the Aussie, but if you look at this, on 24th of April, when it rose slightly, 3.4 to 3.5, 24th of April, where was it? Let's find it. Let me find it for a moment. Where am I? Feels like such a long time ago. There. 24th of April on release. Okay. So that was on release of the news. We saw it spike up before that big retrace back down again. Right, so this was the news before the retrace. So it spiked up because it went from a 3.4 to a 3.5. That's how we saw it push up. If you look at it going 3.4 or 4.3 to 3.4, 31st of Jan. Okay, let's look for that. 31st of Jan. I'm looking for that. So that's that news there. Pushing to the downside on the Aussie. That was that news release. So we're looking for that push. Of course, the conditions between January to now is very different with the dollar index as well. But we're looking at that initial reaction. So that's why if it's going from a 3.5 to 3.4, maybe 3.3, looking at it possibly pushing a little bit to the downside. Okay, good morning, Erwin, how are you doing? Then that one's done. Now looking at the euro dollar, was looking for a consolidate, test and reject, did not do that. Take it away. Now pushing higher. Same thing, very similar to what I don't need that anymore actually, because that's done, but I'll keep that dotted line there. So very similar to what we expect on the pound dollar for a test and reject. I'll be looking for a test and reject on the euro dollar as well. Test and reject 1.0890. No, 1.0885. Stop loss, no more than 20 pips. Take profit right down to about this point. I don't need that. That doesn't make sense. To about this area here, so about 40 pips to the downside. Right? And that would be that trend line as well. Trend line is still valid. Yes, we'll keep that. And I like that. Okay, I like how it's working out. Take that away. So we're looking for the euro dollar. This could be a big move pending, right? If we see it test and reject back down to the downside, forming a big double top at that 1.09 resistance level. Just let me check something. We have, where is it? Bank of Canada on the 5th. On the 6th of June, which is next Thursday, there has been rumors or ideas or comments that maybe the ECB could be looking to cut rates at the June meeting. All right, so that would again add on to that big rejection. I mean, it's 1 week away, but if you look at it on H4 time frame, right, test, reject, it could sit there, reject back down all the way. So I'm looking out for that on the euro dollar. So what could look like is test, reject, bounce, test, and then by next week, a big move back down again. I would love if that happened. Be ready to jump into that. Okay, so again, 1.0885. Sell 1.0885. Stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Okay. Yes, we can have a look at euro pound shortly. Give me a moment. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that one. Okay, that makes sense. Then the US Swiss franc, highlighted this to you guys on the Discord channel. It popped up, it sat in that consolidation, now support turned resistance, sat in that whole area, broke down. If you did get into that, I would be looking for that downward move. This was earlier today when I was thinking that maybe we'll see more dollar weakness, right? So I'll keep that as a view on possible dollar weakness to the downside. I'll keep that view 9120, or if you look at it now, 9110. I would look at a 25. 50 is there. I'll go 25 to 40. I'll look for that push to the downside. Okay, 9110. 9110, stop loss 25, take profit 40 to the downside if we see a continuation of weakness on the dollar to the downside, pushing this lower. And then onto the USCAD. I was so just an hour, 2 hours ago, just at that point, just before lunch, I was thinking, great, it's came down, it's found the support. Told you guys, look out for reaction there. We talked about it yesterday, this morning again, got to the support, looking for reaction. I thought, great, this is gonna bounce. It's gonna bounce. Can we trade it up? It came back down again because we are seeing some consolidation on the dollar index. That's why we see it pushing back down now. Take that one away. So that's my 23.6 level. This trend line is a bit forced. I don't like it there. 61.8, we don't need that. That's done. So we'll still keep this point. And it will sit there. Could it break lower? This area is forming a bit of a strong support. I would say that unless it breaks below this whole area, right? If it breaks this whole area, then you can look to sell down. I would say at that point there, but ultimately I'm looking at it possibly coming back, testing this area before pushing back up, right? Very similar to what has happened here through the middle of May, testing this area, looking like it's going to break before pushing back up. So I'm looking for that similar move. What I wouldn't do anything yet. Be a bit more careful on the USCAD, on the loonie. Maybe you're looking at 1.3660, or take profit of 80 pips back up. Your stop loss, because it's broken 23.6, you'd be looking at about a 30 pip stop loss, or at best a 25. But I think if you're looking at 25, then it would be reasonable to have it at 30 pips and give it a bit more space. Okay, so 1.3660. We're looking for that. Where am I? Okay, we're looking to buy at 1.3660. Stop loss 30, take profit 80 to the upside. That's a resumption of strength on the dollar index. So it's consolidating, might push a little bit before doing that. Okay, then I have a questions on a euro pound and CAD yen. I'll get to that shortly. Let me get through gold first. Right? Why gold first is because we were looking at this. We were looking at this to say that, okay, if it breaks 23.25, could trade lower. It didn't do that yet, I think. It didn't do that yet. I think it's still on the way to that point. Okay, don't need that big, that's a big projection there. But what you see here on gold is that it bounced off this level, it bounced off this 23, 28 level, came up to test 23.6 fib retracement level, and it's retracing slightly right now. It's retracing slightly right now. Short term, very short term trend, it's sitting right there. It looks like it could break, or it looks like it might have broken, but I think it's still a little bit too early. What I would like to see is that a little bit of a downside move and form that double bottom before bouncing back up. Right, or a push back up again, but I would like to see that turn back up. Yes, Ahmed is great with the flags. That bearish flag, so you see that bearish flag like that. All right, so that's why I'm looking at that pushing down, finding a bit of a support, and whether that support is going to hold. So we do have that bearish flag. And that's why I don't like getting in just because it breaks out of a flag. You know, it break out, it could retrace back in again before coming back down. I like this in the sense of looking for a reaction at 2330. Okay, So I think that it could, gold could trade down to 2330. We'll look for reaction to form double bottom. There we go. Right, so sit there, could look from this point and then double bottom to push back up. Could it break all the way down? Maybe, but I think that 2300 will form a very good support level. And no big reason why we should see it drop that much at this point. So I'll be looking for places to buy it back up. Wouldn't look to trade it down, I'll look for a reaction to look to buy it back up. Okay, then on to first, Dinah's asking about the CAD yen. So we looked at a CAD, possible push to the downside, a bit of CAD strength, or dollar weakness dragging it back down, looking for it to bounce possibly. On the yen, very close, very close to push it back up. My CAD yen is there, we had that, take that away. In fact, those lines are all very old, let's clear it all out. Now at this point, CAD is going to, looks like it might strengthen a little bit more before that weakness, and then yen going to push it back up. We have that bit of a, not a channel, that's not a channel. No, so I don't like that. Oops, I don't like that. Take that away. We have this point up here. Let me see. We have this point here, which is the resistance. We have another point way up there, well, not that far away. Okay, so I'm thinking that if the US yen does have that big push, or relatively big push to the upside, or pushes to the upside, it's going to drag the CAD yen up. But I don't see it moving all the way there. I think that you have another point here, at this point here, which you might hesitate at. So I would be looking at the CAD yen. Oh, okay, I don't trade the CAD yen, but as an analysis, I'll be looking for the CAD yen to trade up 115.30, stop loss 30 at the most, take profit 60 to the upside. Maybe it will get up and then test back down again, because we're anticipating that the CAD could weaken. If it bounces, could weaken back up again. Okay, hope I answered your question there, Diana, about the CAD yen. Does it align with your view? Let me know. The alternate is that you might be thinking that it's going to reject this level and turn down. I feel that the yen could drag it up. The US yen could drag it up. Then on to the euro pound, right? We spoke about that bouncing. It didn't bounce. Take that away. Now that it's broken lower. Wait, too many lines. Take all that away first. We found that as a bottom. Pushing back up. For this to continue pushing back up, what needs to happen is either euro strength or pound weakness. And we're looking at euro pushing back up, a little bit of euro strength, but also looking at possible pound weakness. So I would say that, but Euro also after that turning back down possibly. What I would be looking out for on this, in this case, would be a reaction at about that point. Let's see. Down this way. So that point there. All right. So if the euro pound bounces, you might be looking at a reaction or looking for a reaction at 8545. 8545. I actually like that point a bit more, but it doesn't coincide. And I think that there's a little bit of an upside move to continue. So I'm looking for this move higher, test and reject back down again. All right. So you're looking for a test and reject at 8545. This could be a small one. 15, no more than 20, no more than 15 to 20 pips. Back down for 30, almost 40 pips to the downside. Would love to see that break and trade higher, but that would also mean that we're going to see big downside on the pound. Maybe big downside on the pound, not ready yet. Or the euro dollar coming way back down, which does look like what we're priming for. But again, not quite ready yet. Okay, so again, now looking at that sitting there, that looks like it's going to push a little bit to the upside or continue that way. Would love to see that. Doesn't look like it's going to play out. Aussie, sit there, look for it to reject, turn back down. Very keen on the US yen. Despite what the dollar index is doing, the yen is still signaling a bit of a push to the upside. Pound dollar, rise, test, reject, turn back down. Euro dollar, rise, test, reject, turn back down. Sweezy, continuation to the downside. Looking like it's going to play out quite nicely. Not my favorite pair. US CAD, the loonie, test the support before possibly bouncing back up. Now I hope you found this good and useful to align with your own analysis. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Ask it in the Discord channel, share your trade ideas and trade setups as well. If you have any questions, reach out, ask away. In the meantime, please trade well, trade safe. I'll see you on Discord, and if not, then I'll see you all tomorrow on the live stream. Take care now. Bye-bye.